Friday has come once again. And so let us talk. See a couple of you in the room already. Hello, hello, hello. Finally, Friday is being brought to you this week by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. You can show your support and for this show, and of course everything that we do, by heading to patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Happy Friday. We have made it to another Friday at last. It's been such a long time since we've had a chance to chat with one another. So I hope you're doing well on this Friday. Oh my gosh. Already OBS is making me mad. But that's okay. Let's do it this way, and I'm sure it'll work. Look at that. Nightbot. Nightbot is in there saying, oh, you guys, that's weird that Nightbot doesn't appear over on the chat side. But do you guys get to see the Nightbot pop up in your regular chat? Let me know about that, because we set up a Nightbot last week, and we put in some automations. But I'm curious to know if Nightbot is showing up for those of you who are in the chat. You see it. Okay, well, it's weird that it's not popping up on the feed there. That's weird. Anyway, hey, look, there's Geeky. What do we got? Chorio 24, Malone Hasco. The one J. Michael T is here this week. I had the weirdest dream this week, and it's kind of dreams that always disturb me. I kind of wish Ashley was here today, because she'd probably get a kick out of it. Because it features one Ashley Victoria Robinson. The V is very important. And so I'm having this dream that Ashley's younger sister is following me around and, I don't know, crushing on me. I don't know what it is. You know, just this little thing. And I'm just like, can you go away? I got things to do, blah, 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 blah. And Ashley shows up in the dream. She's like, why are you bothering my little sister? And then I wake up. And I was like, well, that was weird. That's the weirdest thing that I've had happen in a while. So I get up, go to the office. Ashley's there. I'm like, Ashley, I just had the craziest dream about your little sister following me around. And she looks straight at me. She says, Stephen, I don't have a little sister. I'm like, I know, that's the weirdest part about this dream. She just rolled her eyes and said, you know what, we probably ought to go get ready for Finally Friday. So we go into the office area, and she goes to her terminal, or she goes to her desk, starts getting set up for Finally Friday. And I go over to the desk that I typically use for Finally Friday. Only problem is somebody's already there using that setup. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go use this other desk over here. And I go over to the other desk to set up to do Finally Friday. And it's like already 3:45. And I look down and all the components that are normally there are not there. There's no microphone hooked up. There is not the headphones or the interface needs to be there. So I start running around grabbing parts and pieces, trying to cobble it together. Some other people are coming over to help get Finally Friday set up. And the next thing I know, it's 4 o'clock. And so I'm tweeting out to everybody, hey, don't worry. Finally Friday's just running a little bit late. We'll be on in just a moment. And then we're still scrambling, trying to put things together, trying to get the software installed, all this stuff that should have been done on this system already. And then it's like 4:15, and I'm like, well, it's too late to try to do a show at this point. And so I tweet out, I'm sorry, everybody. Finally Friday's been canceled. It's not my fault, not Ashley's fault. It's just technology fault. And then I woke up. And I said, oh my gosh, what a weird story for Finally Friday. I pick up my phone and I start tweeting over to Ashley, telling her about this really crazy dream and how we're going to talk about it this week on Finally Friday. And then I wake up again. So I don't know if at this point in my story, right now at 4:04 on a Friday, if I'm dreaming still or if I'm really here with you. It's the weirdest thing. Has that ever happened to you where you've had a dream inside of a dream inside of a dream? And by the time I was in the third dream, or the second dream, the one where we're all on the desk and everything, right before I woke up, I was like, wait a minute. I don't even have an office. I think I'm dreaming. And then I woke up and I was still inside of another dream. I think someone was trying to inception me. I think that's what's happening. Yes, definitely, Malone. Dreamception. And then I couldn't go back to sleep. It was 1:30 in the morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep. On the plus side, I had something to do at 3 a.m., but I didn't want to be awake until 3 a.m. And so I laid there in bed, thinking about what I had to do at 3 a.m., and not being able to go back to sleep because I was afraid I'd wind up in somebody else's dream again, trapped there for all eternity. So I just laid there quietly. 3 a.m. Actually, I was sleeping on the sofa down here because I didn't want to wake up my wife because I had to get up at 3 a.m. And I've got these lights behind me, right, that you see? I'm just laying there, and all of a sudden, I see this weird shadow right up against the door there, and I'm like, what is that? Is there a rat? Is there a rat in the house? And then all of a sudden it moves, and I'm like, well, it wasn't me that did that. And then two little ears pop up. The cat was sitting in front of the light. I don't know what the cat was doing. So I yelled at Mojo, Mojo, get out of here. And it freaked him out, and he took off running. If you are someone that is part of the Dueling Review Live podcast, you know what I did for the remainder of the time between 1:30 and 3 a.m., laying there wondering if I was going to be murdered when I drove to the southern part of the county. Ooh, the southern part of the county. You might be. I mean, is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a dream world? No escape from reality, I tell you what. Kind of everybody wants an escape from reality right now. And I'm wondering, what are you doing when you are under your stay-at-home order? For those of you that are under stay-at-home, J. Michael T., your wonderful governor, if I remember correctly, you are in Georgia. Did you go out today, or did you say, no, no, I'm staying here? Kansas is supposed to open up next week, but it may be the 15th. But I'm curious what you are doing during your time off. Yeah, I don't blame you. I think ours is supposed to lift on the 2nd, May 2nd, so not this upcoming Monday. But I'm going to bet the governor extends it to at least May 15th, especially as our cases continue to rise. But what are you doing to keep sane? What are you doing to not go crazy? I mean, I've gone out. We've gone to some fast food restaurants to pick up some food here and there because, you know, we can only eat chicken so many times. Of course, then we went to KFC. Oh, man, furloughed. That sucks. Man, I'm sorry for you. Sorry to hear that, man. Or woman. Yeah, that's the, right at the time when your state is supposed to be opening back up. I know, I'm sorry. I lived in Atlanta for multiple years, and I thought it was stupid there then, and I think that what the governor is doing there now is even stupider. I mean, Mojo could be. Mojo is very weird. Well, hopefully you had time to plan then, if you saw it coming. But what are you doing now? Here's the reason, because I think we all need hobbies, and for those of you that have been following my other stuffs that I've been doing, you know that I have been it started right before everything went into lockdown, right as soon as the curve started to spike, I started doing some astrophotography. And I've got a whole thing over on my private YouTube channel about it. But I've been really diving down into that hole with very little investment, basically up front. I did buy a star tracker, which a video on that's coming up pretty soon. Sewing lots of masks, dancing, reading, that's good. That sounds really fun. I've been doing this astrophotography and, mixed results if you've seen my other YouTube channel, the Steven Schleicher YouTube channel, where, whoops, there it goes. And also my Instagram where I've been sharing some stuff. Oh, did they not? Let's see. This should have the whole thing. There it is. Here's my first night when I went out. See if I can bring that up a little higher for you guys. Oh, no, this isn't the first night. The first night that I went out was a complete disaster. That was horrible. But I went out again. Here you can see the moon, a little sliver of the moon, and you can see the Pleiades, and you can see Venus over there. Here over here, you can see Orion's belt and his sword. This was the second night that I went out, when it was nice and clear, but there was just literally 3% of the moon showing. But because of the long exposure I was doing, the moon just lit up like that. This was, when was this? This was back at the 1st of April. Right as soon as the everybody stay-at-home order went into effect for the entire state. But I'll be honest, I have been doing the social distancing, right? I don't go anywhere where there's other people. I don't go to places where other people hang out. So I'll go to an empty, I think this was before the stay-at-home went into effect and they closed all the parks. I went to a park at midnight to take that picture. And so, that came back. I was pretty pleased with that. I did that. That was a 24 millimeter photo, I believe. 24 millimeters to get that wide shot. And I thought that was pretty cool. But then I switched over to a 135 millimeter, not thinking I was going to get anything. Zoomed in there onto Orion's sword, right there where the Orion Nebula is at. You can see the Running Man is a little bit to the north of that, right around here, but I didn't get that all the way. In the bigger shot, which I don't have access to on this system, you could actually start to make out the Horsehead Nebula and the Flame Nebula, which was pretty cool. And this was neat because this is a constellation or a nebula that I've always wanted to see, but I didn't have the star tracker when this was taken. So these are really short. I think I had 62-second exposures to get this at 200 millimeters. And I was really surprised about how that came out. So I've been kind of messing around with that. And then I went out in my backyard because, again, I want to be a good person and not go out and do a lot of things. But unfortunately, my backyard is not that big. And I don't have a lot of sky space. And so really I can basically, I've got a little strip that goes from about a fist and a half high from the horizon, or 2 fists high from the horizon, all the way up about, probably about that wide, all the way down to about 3 fists high from the eastern horizon. So that's about all I can shoot. I'll share some more of those images, but I went out and I did shoot the, what is this? This is the, what is this? It's the Beehive cluster. That's what it is. Which was basically straight up in the constellation of Cancer. I took that. That came out really well. This was the first time I used the star tracker. And I think that came out, I think it came out nicely. Let's see if I can get that bigger. I don't think I can. Nice sharp detail on those stars. So I'm pretty pleased with everything. And then because I was awake at 3 a.m., I needed to go out because I wanted to shoot Milky Way, the Milky Way coming up, which I could have done really at any time. I could have waited another month or towards the end of the month, middle of May. But I wanted to get the Milky Way, and I wanted to get, if you can kind of see it here, the bright star is Jupiter. Right next to that is Saturn. And then all the way down here at the horizon is Mars. Now, part of the reason why I was probably a little freaked out that early in the morning, having bad dreams and all these other things, is because earlier in the day it had rained, and I had scoped out on my Google Maps a potential place where I might be able to shoot this really early in the morning, where I wouldn't be disturbed, where cars wouldn't be driving by. And so I had to load up my youngest son, and we went driving into the southern part of Ellis County. And it's kind of creepy down there, to be honest. We found a road and we turned off on it, and it was kind of muddy. It wasn't muddy because the road is all sand. So it was weird to drive on a sand road and not a dirt road. And we passed a really creepy house. You know those creepy houses, like Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type houses. Yeah, we drove past one of those, and then the road ends about another half mile down from that house. Unfortunately, I probably could have taken the pictures there, but unfortunately there was a rise, which in the future might look kind of cool, because you have some nice, scrub brush and everything in the foreground. But it would have been just too high for me to get Mars in the shot in the hour that I had to get the shot. So I couldn't go down there, but man, it was creepy. So I ended up just pulling off to the side of the road of not a major highway, but of a north-south highway. And so for an hour, there's just semis driving by. But I was waiting for someone to see my truck pull over and murder me in the middle of the night. So that is what I'm doing to stay relaxed and to keep occupied. And then, of course, I get to bring all the photos back, and I get to manipulate them and tweak them and get all the images that you saw there. So that's been fun, too. So I kind of like it. I think I'm going to take one of those, and I'm going to have a print made, or a couple of prints made, and just see what that looks like when it finally gets blown up, so that when I do get better gear, I kind of know the process, I kind of know what it'll look like, I kind of know what resolution to shoot at, what the expectations will be, and then see what happens. Geeky Chorio 24 says that she's working on masks for the family. My wife made a bunch of masks. I haven't worn them. But it looks like those masks are keeping the pollen out, which is good, especially if you have bad allergies. Oh, yeah. Karl is in the chat this week. Trying to keep his kids from going feral while working from home. I understand that. Today I had to break up 2 fights. These 2 are going stir crazy. Of course, it didn't help that it rained all day. But these 2 are going stir crazy. I've got the youngest who will not go on, who just moans and complains every time I'm like, hey, let's go for like a little 1-mile walk. He just moans and complains the whole time. He doesn't know how to ride a bike, refuses to learn to ride a bike. I need to get him on a scooter, see if he will do that, because I need to get out and get some exercise. But I, too, have been drinking my tonic water, Karl, but yours looked very different from, like, the tonic water that you buy at the store. Yours had a whole bunch of, like, herbs and spices and stuff inside there. It looked interesting. So I'm guessing you take a little bit of the tonic water, cut it with some regular water and some gin, or do you just add a little bit of that tonic water into a lot of gin? Because I can see that. A lot of water, a little bit of gin. My favorite drink, of course, is the Dirty Sinestro, where it's gin and tonic with a little lime juice in there and served in a green lantern tumbler. 144 tonic, sparkling water. Okay, that's what it is. So did you put quinine in yours? Because my tonic water has quinine, so I won't get the malaria. That's the size of my gin and tonic. Actually, drinking doesn't start for another 20 minutes. Because supposedly the wife will be home by then. And then there's an adult who can keep the kids from killing one another. Let's see. So Karl is making his own tonic water. That's a great way to relax. Sewing, stretching, dancing, watching movies, a great way to relax. My oldest son went through all, 3 seasons of Stranger Things in about 2 days. He is now on his second watch through of The Office. He has played Breath of the Wild from start to finish and did that in a week. Oh, quinine comes from the cinchona bark. I didn't know that. Surprisingly cheap. Oh man, I need to watch that new seasons of Kim's Convenience. I did watch, and this is probably, unfortunately, probably not, as I said this week on the Major Spoilers podcast, probably not a show a lot of you will enjoy right now because it is very sad. It's about loss. It's about maybe a little bit of depression. It's about being alone. It's called Tales from the Loop, which is on Amazon Prime. It's based on a series of images that this Swedish painter made that takes like retro future tech that has fallen apart and paints it among, traditional Swedish landscapes. But that show is really good. It's like a weird Twilight Zone-y kind of vibe to it. It's got a through line between all of the episodes. There's a connecting thread between all the episodes. But it's really good, but it's very, very sad. And I don't think that people will, right now, probably not be in the right frame of mind to watch it. Malone says that he's seen almost all of it. He's seen 6 to 8 episodes. I was really hoping that there is one major plot thread that comes in episode 2, where these two boys crawl into a sphere and they switch bodies. And then they want to switch back, but things happen. I was hoping that there would be I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but I was hoping there would be a better resolution to that storyline by the end. And unfortunately, it's not. So, but I'm guessing you probably have seen the one where the other guy goes to an alternate reality. That one I thought was really good, but also about loss and about finding yourself and all those kinds of things. But I highly recommend it if you can deal with the sadness and the loneliness and the ennui that comes in that show. Cinchona is that how you say it? Cinchona is ridiculously expensive online right now because people think it will protect him from the coronavirus. Interesting. I wonder, I joke about quinine all the time because I say, I drink the gin and tonics so that I don't get malaria. Because that's, originally what the Britons did when they were in India. But my wife, the last couple of times she's gone to do a grocery run, I've said, hey, if you see any tonic water, grab tonic water. And every time she goes there, they're like, the tonic water section is just empty. That must be what it is. I bet people are buying all the tonic water, not because they're drinking to console themselves while they're at home, which is what I originally thought, but probably because some dingbat opened his mouth and said consume the quinine to save yourself from the coronavirus. That guy's an idiot. I'll tell you that right now. Trying to keep the cats from killing each other or keeping the tofu from destroying everything. Wait, the tofu from destroying everything? I'm not sure what that means. I enjoy tofu. I cook with tofu. I eat tofu. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad eyes. That's not tofu destroying everything. Sorry. Bleach will kill it and you too. So I'm hesitant to say anything about that because CDC years ago, not just this week, years ago, they do have a recommendation on safe ways to use bleach to purify water. And that's all I'm going to say about that, okay? Don't be pulling gallons of bleach and drinking that. That's bad. Don't be trying to inject yourself with UV rays. That's bad. I would say do not, we can buy those devices, right, that you put your cell phone in to disinfect your cell phone or your glasses or your toothbrush or even your other toys that you might play with in the bedroom that you can disinfect all that stuff with UV rays. Same thing. Don't crack that thing open and point it at your face because you're going to get major burns and you're going to have horrible things happen to you. So don't do those things. And I know someone will say, oh, I'm just joking. I was just joking to see what would happen. we're all better than that. Let's see. Somebody posted a link. Oh, way to go, Nightbot. Way to go. What links were you posting there, Karl? Also, you're in Oklahoma. I'm curious, did this university shut down in Oklahoma where you work, or did you have to stay at home just because of your kids were at home? Because I was under the impression that Oklahoma did not shut itself down. Oh, the recipe that you used. Okay. Well, you know what you could do, Karl? Head over to the Major Spoilers Discord, and in the Finally Friday chat room, go ahead and post your secret recipe over there, and everybody can go join in on that. So your university is closed completely. Okay. But do you still get to do librarian duties? Because I know our library is still open and functioning. I mean, not open to the public like you can walk in, but all of the people that work there have duties to do, both our public library and our university library. Malone says, I've been watching the whole thing from the outside. It's been a wild ride the last few years and getting more interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. But it may open back up again if they follow our foolish governor's lead. I think that doesn't make a lot of sense because the semester is almost over. I mean, we've got less than a month. It would make very little sense to have all those kids come back to the university for 3 weeks only to have them disperse again. It might be better to wait and open up the university like, the summer schedule. June, perhaps. Reference work through email and chat. So someone comes to you and says, Karl, I'm looking for some information to write my book report. Can you help me find that stuff? Not book report, my term paper. Yeah, no physical memory materials being loaned or returned. Yeah. Oh my gosh, have we already blown through a half hour? I talk about my crazy dreams, show off some little photographs that I've been taking, and then talk about what you guys have been doing, and suddenly it's the end of the half hour. Well, Karl, you're doing a great job. And Geeky Chorio, I'm sorry that you were put on furlough. Squirrel Brian is there. Squirrel Brian, hello, how are you? I hope you're doing well and that your family is doing well. I love the picture of your kid doing homeschooling. My children refuse to do any of that kind of stuff for fear of being ridiculed by their peers. I don't know. I haven't looked at the Amazon stuff lately. But for those of you that are going over to majorspoilers.com and you're clicking on that Amazon link and making all your purchases, thank you so much. A little bit comes back our way and takes money away from Jeff Bezos. Speaking of taking money from Jeff Bezos, well, we get a small percentage of everything that you buy. But speaking of Jeff Bezos, if you are someone that does have an Amazon Prime account and you subscribe to this channel, we instantly get $5 from Jeff Bezos as well. So for everybody that does that, thank you so much. And if you want to have some more fun, tomorrow, right here on our Twitch channel, 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time, You Don't Know Jack. It'll be Team Major Spoilers versus the world, as myself, Matthew, Dr. Brad Will, and D&D Brian will be in here playing You Don't Know Jack and taking all of you on. And if you've done this with us in the past, we did this a couple of months ago. No, actually, it was back in 2019, I believe, when we were playing You Don't Know Jack on a regular basis. The way it works is if you are in our Discord and you are a patron, you will get the first crack at joining the game because I'll post the code there. And then I open it up to the rest of the world for anybody watching the stream to join in, and then we play the game. So I think there's only 7 spots. I haven't looked at the new version of You Don't Know Jack to see if it opens it up for more than 7, but there'll only be about 3 or 4 slots open each game. And that means that you're going to need to scramble to get that code in and join us to see if you can beat us. It'll go from 3 o'clock until 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time Saturday, right here on this Twitch channel as we play You Don't Know Jack. And if you're someone watching on our YouTube channel, I know that a couple of you are watching... Oh, man, now I forgot who just reached out the other day and says, oh, I forgot that these were on... YouTube. Yes, the replays of this are happening on YouTube, so if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to follow us on twitch.tv/Major Spoilers, where you can join along live, or Major Spoilers video on YouTube if you just want to watch the replay, because I know that there's several of you doing that. Ooh, a new Wonder Woman trailer for in Brazil on the 27th. Well, that'll be interesting. It looks like Marvel, a little bit of comic book news as we wrap it up and start the credits rolling. Looks like Marvel will not be releasing any digital comics next week, even though Comixology still had a bunch of Marvel comics listed as coming out next week. Let's just do one more final check to see if somebody caught that. Let's see. The week of the 29th, we will filter by Marvel. And we will... Oh, yep. See, they took them all down. Yesterday, for those of you that were listening to Dueling Review, as of yesterday, there were like almost 100 books that they had listed as coming out next week. And now they only have digital trade paperbacks. So apparently somebody's listening to us talk on Dueling Review and then suddenly going, what about? What about Batman 92 and 93? Batman 92 and 93 will be arriving when physical comics ship. So probably in June or July is when those comics will arrive. Man, you need to listen to Dueling Review, because the question is, I never understood the issue with releasing comics digitally first during this time. I talked about it for a couple of times on Dueling Review. I've talked about it on the Major Spoilers pre-show. The brick and mortars are just having a conniption fit anytime you mention digital. I mean, literally just melting down and saying how digital comics are the ruin of the LCS. And it's not. Digital comics are not going to destroy a comic book shop. Just like same-day video release is not going to destroy the movie business. Just like buying your book on Kindle and buying a physical copy of the book hasn't destroyed the physical book industry. The comic book shops are worried because if there's an excuse for someone to go to someplace better to get their comics, that's where they're going to go. And really their complaints are really fears that their shop isn't a good shop. And that's what they're really complaining about, is that their shop is going to close because they don't know how to run a good business. I'll just leave that time bomb there and let you guys discuss it over on the Discord channel. And I hope to see you again next Friday when we can sit back and talk. Right now, I've got to go make some dinner for everybody. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. Hope to see more of you on the live stream tomorrow. And I hope to see many of you again real soon when we finally get around to the next Finally Friday. Take care, everybody. Look at all these wonderful people in the list. If you are a patron over at patreon.com/Major Spoilers, thank you so much. It's because of all these fine folks that we are able to continue to do what we do week after week, month after month, day after day. Here's Karl's recipe for the ultimate gin and tonic. Reading. Let's take a bunch of citrus zest and lemongrass, mix it in, do all these things, and then let it ferment and enjoy. I think it's the fermentation part that kind of freaks me out. I know it shouldn't, but, you know, I trust if an FDA-approved source is fermenting stuff, but a Steven in his home or in his backyard fermenting stuff, probably not a good combination. Thank you, Karl. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Malone. Thank you, Balooey. Hope to see you again real soon, everybody. And if this was your first time, thank you for hanging out. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. as we get through all the Scotts on this list, and the Terrys, and the Thomases. List is long. That's why we're able to continue through all this. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you again soon.